Good morning, good morning, good morning. This is your daily report. But before I get into this, you know what to do. Go down below, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell notification icon too, and let's get into this. So, COVID stats I'm going to put down below so you can read those, but let's get into the meat and potatoes. Former Vice President Joe Biden's campaign has raised $48 million since announcing Senator Kamala Harris as his official running mate. The campaign reported 150,000 donations were first-time contributors. The Biden campaign entered August with 294 million on hand already, while the Trump campaign reportedly had over 300 million. So you can see that they're campaigning and picking her as the correct choice in some asset, but in many assets not. So I've mentioned another video why it wasn't a good idea to pick Kamala Harris. Just go back and watch that one. A recent letter, the U.S. Postal Service informed Pennsylvania officials that there is a significant risk that mail-in ballots may not arrive in time for the November election. The USPS General Counsel, Thomas Marshall, said that the certain voters who requested a ballot will not have sufficient time to complete and mail the completed ballot back to the election officials in time for it to arrive by Pennsylvania's return deadline. Pennsylvania Department of State has requested the Supreme Court to allow mail-in ballots to be counted if received within 3 days after Election Day. So, we're kind of seeing where there's some negativity amongst mail-in ballots. There's one state right now that's going to get it a little too late for their entire voting mail-in, most of them, a mail-in vote to not even count, whether that's even for Biden or even for Trump. So that's not good. It's basically saying your voice doesn't count because we're forcing you, or at least forcing the idea on you that you should do a mail-in ballot and be very afraid of this COVID. So if you can go to Walmart with a mask on, then you can go to a voting booth with a mask on and go vote. So, there's a far-left activist called for the formation of the Orange Revolution to evict President Trump from the White House following the election. In an article for The Intercept, Professor Francis Fox Piven and urban studies lecturer Deepak Bhagava called for a broad united front to make the country ungovernable and the reigning regime illegitimate. In preparation, they urged for the bolstering of mutual aid networks, bail funding channels, attorney defense networks, and planning for mass labor strikes in order to keep the fight after the election. They concluded that the left should prepare now for something akin to a coup, as the president and his base are unlikely to stand down. So you can see that they're actually continuing to their indictions of the far left activists and are preparing for a general strike come November. It's probably that their plan to take the White House. It says the Industrial Workers of the World and Social Workers Organization and socialist activist Ryan Knight call for a general strike. It's time for pitchforks. So he's calling for a mass mobilization. Well, anyways, I have no comment on that. None. A new Rasmussen poll found that most Americans are ready to see the end of the violent protests, riots, and looting. The poll showed that 72% of all voters are concerned about increasingly violent protests, with 62% stating that the growing level of destructive unrest is an important factor in who they will vote for in 2020. So Who are they going to vote for? We really don't know. But based off assumptions, Trump already called ahead of time saying this is going to happen. And no one believed him. He offered help to stop the protests, right? They're refused by the governors, mainly Democratic-run cities or Democratic-run states saying, we don't need your help. We're going to let this, basically, essentially saying, let this place burn, like you see in Portland. Because first it was Portland, like, whatever they're complaining about that time. And people are like, oh, poor protesters. They're burning down our city. That's riots. Clarification. Then it went, Trump said, nah, we're sending in federal officers. Then it went, oh, poor innocent little protesters. They're getting provoked by these mean, evil federal officers. Federal officers left. Oh, poor protesters. They're fighting for their rights and fighting against these evil police officers. I was like, you just keep feeding this excuse to be a piece of crap. So those people, like, there's people abandoning New York. They're abandoning New York, trying to get out of there. Businesses and rich people, wealthy people, I should say, are leaving New York. People left Seattle. People are leaving Portland. Years ago, we already knew about a mass exodus out of California. So, people don't like Democratic-run states and cities. So when it says these riots are affecting the way they're going to vote in 2020, you can assume that they'll be voting for Trump. But like what happened in 2016, everyone said Hillary's going to win because look at all these polls, but Trump won. So you can never know. You never know. Okay, Portland State Police announced that they're withdrawing from Portland effective immediately. Oh. The Oregon State Police stated, at this time we are inclined to move those resources back to counties where prosecution of criminal conduct is still priority. More than 500 people have been arrested during the riots in Portland, but less than 50 have been prosecuted. So that's another thing. That's exactly what he said. It was, we're only going to prosecute some violent crimes. But they allow you to engage into a police officer and resist arrest, or if someone's getting arrested, you have no legal ramifications if you interject into that arrest. See? So police officers are like, we're out. We're not going to work our butts off, get pelted by frozen water bottles, glass bottles, fireworks, homemade explosives, rocks, this, that, and the other, if we arrest them and then they're going to be let free. They have there's nothing holding them back. Like, well, if I get arrested, I'm going to be out the next day. So take a rock to the face, take that, smack, kick, beat down an officer. Oh, I'm arrested. See you guys tomorrow. You know, I wouldn't blame them why they want to leave. So, it says, Mutmah County District Attorney Mike Schmitz recently announced that most riot-related crimes will not be prosecuted, and was the tipping point for the Oregon State Police to leave Portland. Oregon State Police is evidently not interested in being attacked by the same rioters they arrested the night after night. So that County Sheriff Mike Reese encouraged the district attorney to not drop the charges, saying that anarchists may feel even more emboldened due to the drop charges. While this could influence the district attorney's calculus, it could also trigger federal security forces to move back into the area. I don't know. Let the city burn. Let it burn. Let people leave and go, we voted this guy in. Let's not make that mistake again in our new place. Like, I don't know what the Democrats' plan is. They think that we're that stupid. They're trying to pander to the younger vote. But majority of the vote that they need is the older people. Maybe they're pandering it for future. You know? When they get older, and then they can raise their kids to then vote Democrat. They're probably planning for the long run. They know they're going to lose this election. So plan for the long run. Anyways, here's some good news. Last Friday, the S&P 500 closed within a fraction of a percentage point for its all-time high and has almost erased losses sustained during the pandemic shutdowns. The stock market's performance has been strong despite the significant loss of small businesses over the summer, as well as unemployment at its highest level since the Great Depression. Of note, 5 companies, Amazon, Apple, Facebook, Netflix, Google, parent Alphabet, and Google parent Alphabet, make up approximately 25% of the S&P's 500's value. So, at least we know that our stock market is strong. Even though the small businesses have suffered, which is the bad news. But the good news is we're still economically strong. So, do we need to worry about a Great Depression or a Great Recession? No. Should we plan for it? Yes, we should. We should always plan for it. Always prepare for that. Always prepare for the worst case scenario. Because who knows? Next month might just crash down and then we have to stand in lines for bread or something. And, you know, tons of us lose work and we have to stand in line for work like they did way back in the day. So who knows? But prepare for it. Do I see it happening soon? No. But prepare for it. Never stop preparing. So, I'm going to end at that with a little bit of good news. You guys have a wonderful day. Make sure you stay strong. Stay resilient. Shield wall.